Hey, Andrew. I don't know. I don't know if you saw my. I sent you a private chat a few like a minute ago. Said, hey, let's jump in a breakout room. I saw you cranking out a ton of calls and
Yeah.
not as many people scheduled. Are you not getting a hold of people? Are you getting people that are busy, or what's going on?
Yeah, so I've obviously been making a lot of calls, and yeah, nobody's really picking up. I've been sending a few one-word texts, a few a bit longer if I'm a little more familiar with them. I got a few people who said they're gonna call me back. They're in the middle of something, so I've been waiting on them to call me back. But
Okay.
tonight I also plan on doing a bunch of post-it notes. I'm gonna go around my neighborhood and posted everything up. So yeah,
All
I'm
right. Okay. Good. Well,
trying to
look,
get it done.
I just wanted to acknowledge. I see you putting in that effort, and so sometimes a phone jam will just be, especially if you have a big goal ahead of you. You were at the Alliance event last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that they talk about sometimes when you set a big goal, things just kind of looks like they just pile on top of you sometimes, and that just makes the victory sweeter whenever it overcomes. But the key is the best phone jams come after the worst phone jams, the best days comes after the worst days, and the best demos come after the worst demos. But that only can hold true if I have a rough day, if I go out and work the next day, right? The problem a lot of people have is they have a rough day and it's like, oh, I need a day off, and then that good day that karma should have given them, they miss, a lot of times. So
Yeah.
it's about consistency. Um, I like the fact that you were doing the one word text or the people that a little bit more. What How many people have you talked to? Are you tracking like how many people you've actually spoken with out of the calls you've made? I think you got 16 calls or
Right.
something.
Whole list of people.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I've been
I mean,
keeping track of
are you keeping
who
track like this, like calls, contacts, set, right?
yeah,
Like how many calls? You got 16 calls. How many contacts? How many people have picked up the phone?
I believe it's about three or four. I keep track, I write down their name, and then if they pick up, I put either I sent a text or they answered or um anything like that. So or whatever the result is. And I believe I've gotten four people to answer.
Okay.
And one of them booked an appointment, however, it was on Thursday, so not in that they were
Far,
out of town until
a
then.
little far
So
in advance. Okay. But say if they're out of town, they're out of town. There's not a lot you can do unless they're out of town somewhere where they've got time to sit on a Zoom. The old thing about someone being on vacation, what used to be a no deal. We couldn't do anything no matter what because we went face to face and we had to cut
yeah,
stuff. And nowadays, people being out of town isn't always a deal breaker. Sometimes we can still do it depending on what they're doing. We want to be sensitive, of course. So there's two things. Getting down into the nitty gritty, is great, and probably you and Anthony can kind of work into exactly every single conversation. And is there any tweaks we could make to be more effective? And a lot of times there are. But the macro, you always want to make sure you know the macro, like the regional executive in charge of all of the Starbucks in California. He doesn't know about every little transaction, but at the end of every day, he knows here's how many scones we sold in California. Here's how many caramel macchiatos we sold. They know
yeah,
those numbers, and that macro view sometimes is super important. And it's not any one day, but it's a conglomeration. Like if today you make 16 calls, talk to four people, and schedule one. Well, that doesn't mean that's what your stats are every time you do phone time. There may be
right.
some time that you do 7 calls, talk to 6 people, and schedule 5. And so what we do is we take each into one and see what can we do to improve it. But then we look at like 3 weeks worth, right? And we see, okay, what are the averages
Yeah, the
overall?
big picture,
And
right.
usually when you look at that overall average, it's like, okay, now we really can see where we may want to work on something, where our strengths are, that type of thing. I would hope that, when it comes to scheduling, you're going to schedule about 2 out of every 3 people that you talk to if your skills are really on point, right? And when I say that, usually, like if I talk to 3 people, I'm going to get 1 just no, not interested. And even when I used to love the not interested. They give me that not interested. Oh, great, Miss Jones, I'm glad that you're not interested. When people are really interested, it takes way longer. Since you're not interested, it'll be real quick. So when's good? 2:30 or 4:45, which is better for you, right? And like I took their reason for not wanting to do it to be a good reason to do it, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah, that makes sense.
the best salespeople. That's what they always do. So, well, I can't afford that, Ms. Jones. That's probably exactly the reason why you ought to get it. And they're like, huh, what? Yeah, people, because it's such a value. When
Yeah,
if times are tight, it's really important that the money that you do spend, you spend it on things that matter, right? And there, of course, that takes a lot of practice and lots of workshops and training that you'll get especially over the Champs Club. Um, But you're going to get one person that's going to be a no out of about every three that you talk to. Some people do better than that, but then you're going to get one that's not a no, but it's not right now. Call me later, or now's not a good
Yeah.
time, whatever. Some people are pretty good at turning those into yeses. About half of those you want to turn it into a yes anyway by working with their schedule, offering a time early in the morning, offering a time late at night. That helps. And then sometimes, you got to call, you have to set a time to call them back. One thing you want to remember is when it comes to having to put something off, like you had some people that you said they're going to call you back. Okay. You want to try to never leave it up to them to do it, because people are generally procrastinators. And it's not that they don't intend to do it, they just never get around to doing it.
Yeah.
then-
I actually just got a call back while we were talking.
Oh, well, shoot, I may blow. I'll let you get to it in just a second. But then you got one that you do get a hold of. If you had time, I'll let Anthony do this with you later. But what I want you to do next time you're talking to Anthony or Mark or Julie or any of the assistants, Sydney, role play the phone approach. Like pretend that they're your Aunt Sue or whatever, and you do role play the thing. And you're still calling people that right? Are you calling referrals yet?
I'm definitely into the referrals at this point.
Have you used every single person on your initial list? Have you made an appointment with so far?
The initial names list.
Like you made a list in training, of how many people. How many people did you have on that list?
I believe it was about 40 to 50.
Okay. And so how many appointments have you done to that list so far?
That list.
Right.
Probably closer to about 15 to 20, I'd say.
Okay, so about half of them. So there's still some on there that you might be. This is Sam, by the way. He's my
Hi, Sam.
Sam. He may not
Right.
say hello. He's he's got autism, and he just busts in at my office anytime he wants to. And so
No
it's
worries.
always positive with in interviews. I'll be interviewing people. I always tell people in the beginning, hey, you might get interrupted by Sam. He'll just come in, and they usually give me some grace. Oh, don't turn off my fan, bud. It's hot in here. Okay. I have to wait till he leaves. He's the king of closing windows and turning off fans. But anyway, where was I going? Anyway, role play the phone approach. Make sure that you're on it. Keep pushing that initial list. Have you been through any of the exercises on how to grow your initial list even more? Like there's some specific training, like some video trainings that we have and stuff like that. Have you been through one of those exercises?
I've seen both the advanced trainings. I don't believe anything more than that, though.
Okay. There was a special champs club this last Thursday morning that Jeremy Farr led. Were you able to get to that?
No.
Okay, that's one of those opportunities. There's you can ask Anthony. I know he has it. Write this down. Alex Mazarak. He's one of the managers in Colorado. He has a really excellent training. And a guy like you, I know that you go through an exercise like this, you'll be able to add 5, 10, 15, maybe even more than that, quality, good names that are part of your network and extended network that maybe you didn't think about before. You're always going to be the greatest source of your own leads. Okay. The individual person, you might meet somebody, at a bar, that turns out to be somebody you might want to do a demo for someday. Who knows? But that's going to be always one of your greatest resources is going to be that, and learning how to be resourceful with your initial network. But role play that phone approach. Make sure you practice the one to people practice the one to people you don't know. Make sure you remember which approach to use when you're doing it, because sometimes it gets confusing. But role play it, because when I role played with Sam Brown from Lakewood yesterday morning, he did perfectly right up to the part about 2/3 of the way through the approach where most reps kind of lose their thing right when they start talking about the times. Right. And it's common that new people will kind of lose focus or lose the script a little bit right about there. And as a result, they still schedule a decent amount, but there might be one or two here and there that they end up missing just because they're leaving a little bit too much to chance, as opposed to leaving it to the script. And once you've made, 10,000 phone calls, and you can do it in your sleep, and you can make adjustments easily.
Right.
Anyway, well, I'm glad you got a call back. Go crank that out. Anthony told me about you. He mentioned it. He mentioned about 3 or 4 people on the team, new folks that he feels like's got a lot of potential, that he really likes working with. And, Newport needs some new leaders. They had great leaders, but they all became managers, Tiffany and Cassidy and Brad, and they're all, all managing all over the place. And so this next level of leadership.
Do you remember Harrison?
Harrison Vanderfort, Harrison?
Yeah, I sailed with his little brother when I was,
Okay.
and Joe Howe as well, if you.
Okay, so Harrison, apparently, I never got to go see him do it, but apparently he's like one of the best in the world. you know, like world champion sailor people, right?
Wow. Oh yeah. For sailing, yeah.
Yeah, for sailing. You know, he had a great summer with us too. I mean, he was one of our top, maybe our top 5 reps or something like that. I was really surprised we didn't get him to come back and be an assistant manager the next summer. I think because of his experience, he met somebody that helped him get an engineering scholarship, engineering internship or something. But I really was hoping he'd be able to go visit the factory, because I know with his brain engineering things, he would have been fascinated by the processes, how we make Cutco in the factory. And I was really trying to get him an invitation to that, but it never did work out. So, but anyway, I like that guy. He was great. Good kid, very polite, learned a ton. And he gave a couple of good talks toward the end of the summer too. I wish we had been doing everything on Zoom back then, because we would have had them recorded, but this was face-to-face stuff, and we weren't videotaping everything. It would have been really good to have. Cool. It's cool that you know Harrison well. If you want to try to fill his shoes, I mean, he probably sold 40,000 or something his summer, you know, so
Wow.
you have to get to work now. Now that I know you know Harrison, the
Bars up
the
there.
standards have been raised. All right, hey, I'll let you go back to the main room and make that call back, and I'll keep watching the reports, and let's get some
All
more.
right. Yeah, I'm not giving up. We're
All
gonna
right.
keep going.
Good. You're good, man. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later.